Welcome to another episode of Get Better Basketball Live. I'm Coach DeMarco, and today my guest will be Coach Demetrius Ware, who's going to share with us some of his favorite baseline out-of-bounds sets. You're not going to want to miss it. Before we jump into it, make sure you hit that like button down below, turn on your notifications, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great content each and every week. Another episode of Get Better Basketball Live is up now. Coach DeMarco here with Get Better Basketball Live, and today my guest is Coach Demetrius Ware. Coach, how you doing today?
Hey, D, how you doing? Good to see you again, man.
I'm doing awesome. Always love having you on. You always have some good stuff for us. I know coaches are always reaching out whenever you share, and today's going to be no different because we're going to talk baseline out of bounds plays.
Yes, the money maker.
Before we jump into some of your great actions that you're going to share, including a 4-across set that I saw earlier and I really like, I want to ask you, what's your overall philosophy on baseline out of bounds plays? What is it that you're trying to do when you come up with a baseline out of bounds play for your team?
Well, I've kind of come to the conclusion, and I think it's what helps me out a lot of times. I've broken them down into 2 factors. Factor number 1 is just get the ball in safely. Get it to a teammate, and not to be insulting, but that just I want to get the ball in and start the execution of our set or play. So that's the first option or the first choice that I'm looking at always. The second choice is we want to score off of whatever the set might be. So I'll look at a situation. I'll just say, all right, it's good. We don't have any problems. Let's just get it in and then run whatever we're going to run. So those are the plays where we're looking at now that just to get the ball in, then run our action or run our sets, or those are plays where we're actually looking to score. And we're going to actually particular to individuals, players we're looking to be open, and then I try. And I haven't been really good at it, even though it shows a lot of multi options. I can kind of get locked in one way to do it, especially out of the box sets. And I love box sets, and I just get too creative with a lot of box sets sometimes. But I love box sets, and sometimes I just get in so concerned about the bigs when it should be everybody. But those are my two methods, basically, getting it in. We'll call it a simple play. If we want to score off it, then there's a particular type of play we may want, depending on what they want to, how they defended it.
Coach, what is it that goes into? I hear a lot of different philosophies on baseline out of bounds plays, and what is it from your perspective that goes into a good baseline out of bounds play? I know obviously the ultimate goal is to get a basket, but for you, what is it that goes into the plays that you create or that you use with your team?
First thing, whoever's throwing the ball in, they believe it or not, we probably trust them more than we trust our point guards, because you have to be able to read and know what your options are and understand them. And then the most important thing is they actually have to really not be very good passers. So it's not a thing where we just let anybody throw it in. A lot of teams will say, well, it's the 3. So whoever the 3 is, they just let the 3 throw it in. So it's about who can read the defenses and know what they're supposed to do on the sets. And then we go with who has the talent as far as being able to make the passes in the reads as well as going. Those are the 2 most important parts of it.
Yeah, that's some good insight on, in terms of what makes a good, baseline out of bounds play. And I think the inbounder is critical. You bring up a really good point. They have to have a high IQ. They have to be someone who can make quick decisions and, also not force the issue. You never want to turn it over when you have an opportunity under your own basket. And I think about, I shared a play recently on YouTube from Gonzaga, and they were in a box set and they never ran the action. The defender had their back turned. So the inbounder just went literally right over his shoulder, the offensive player who just laid it in. And, that shows a high IQ from that player, and obviously the other player being ready to catch it. But, I guess it speaks to your point, which is the person inbounding the ball really is critical to the success
Yep.
of the play, which I want to ask you. That person, we know they're going to be a high IQ player, but do you like them to be a shooter? Do you like them to be a slasher, a bigger guy? What do you like? What type of player, besides the IQ piece, do you like to put in that spot? For me, I like to have someone who's a shooter because we might screen them coming back in, but I know that's different for everybody. So I'm curious to hear what you like to do with that inbounder. What type of player do you like in that spot?
I need to find out who can make a pass, make that overhand pass, make that bounce pass, make that straight pass you talked about right between the ears there with two hands. And I think having that ability to be calm in a situation where it's 5-10 seconds left and you know where to make that pass go to and you can make that pass. I think that's important, and that's what makes a good play. Also, it's your philosophy. If your philosophy is just getting the ball in and running your set, hey, that's cool. Then you put the personnel out there who knows where everybody should be. But it also, you may have a situation where you want to score every time you're touching that ball, and it may not be the same way. So I guess a good arm, smart mind, and toughness is what I like when it comes to people throwing in balls in for us and making good choices.
As we jump into now some of these plays, I'm very excited. I had a chance to go through, all the different plays that you're going to share today. So I say let's jump right in and see the first one.
Awesome. This is one of my favorite plays, John. I love this play, man. I've been running it since 1994, and I can tell you at least 6-7 games a season we get a score out of this. And there's a couple of different options from it. But we call this wall, obviously, because of the fourth stack that we have. We call it, obviously there's a vertical and a horizontal. So this is a horizontal stack. And what we do is we usually put our three behind that, throwing the ball in, or the four. So like I said, we talked about before, who's able to make good passes and good decisions and know what the options are. And the one thing we love about this play is we put the two in the middle, which is our shooter, or our one. In this case, we're going to have the two in there because he's our better shooter. And then we're going to have our 4 and our 5. And they're going to he's going to be in between the 4 and the 5. That's what the 2 is. And what's going to happen is we have the 1 in the corner. And he's standing there and really looking like he's not going to be part of this play at all. So he's over here in this corner. What we have him do on the slap or on the call, he's running to the other corner. When he gets to 2, he's the tag 2 shirt or his pants. As soon as he tags him, he doesn't stop. He keeps going. As soon as he tags him, 2 starts backing out. And what happens when 2 steps back, 4 and 5 are going to pinch for him. And they seal off anybody being able to get to him. And he's got to sprint back or backpedal back hard. And 3's got a nice little soft over the head baseball pass for him. And that's what a catch and shoot. Once 2 gets that run and start back to beyond the arc, 4's going to dive in to the paint. 5's going to pretty much stay there. 3's breaking to the corner. And what we want, even if 2's got that ball and he can't make that shot, 4's kind of a little bit out, too far out here on the map here. But what they're going to do is he's going to come back. 2's going to hit him if there's nothing there. And 1 can always make that decision to attack or hit 4.
What I really like about this, Coach, just going back to kind of the original alignment, that 4 across alignment, like stack, so to speak. And I think, there's a lot of options out of this, and it's a little bit unique. A lot of times teams stack behind each other. I've seen a similar set that teams run at the free throw line where that player backs out and they sort of pinch and they try to throw over the top. What I like about this, though, is 1 clears, and that's going to cause some interference, almost a brush screen. And then you have 2 backing out, and they very likely could be open with that little pinch, almost like an elevator type screen from 5 and 4, closing the doors. And teams are going to really try to protect the basket.
Oh, they do.
They're going to be worried about any cuts to the basket. So I think that shot for 2 can be open a lot of times, but then you get the reversal and a duck into the 4. So really well-designed play and, simple for the players with a lot of options off of it. And we've seen this with your stuff, your sideline out of bounds plays we went through, tons of great options, and, seeing it again here with this baseline out of bounds set.
So we can even still run wall out of this if we want to, where we can literally just put, like I said, another number here. It could be a 2 or 3, and they're going to pinch or come a little bit harder here. 5 is going to roll off, and 4 is going to attack to the post here. So that's another option that we use as we use our 1-4 set. But this one right here, the reason I like this gives, if you have a good 5 who can catch and shoot on the same one, he's on one step. This is the play for them. And then if that's not there, we got a small guard attacking the post, low post, and you're looking for a feed in there from 4. And these other 2 they're breaking hard. I don't have it on here, but we'd like to see them make a V cut or some type of misdirection cut and then attack it going straight forward to give 4 an option here. But we're looking for 4 to hit 5 coming hard to the basket, or looking for 1 who's slipping in there after the screen he sets for 5 as they curl off that screen.
Yeah, well-designed play here, Coach, too. One thing I want to point out here, I really like that. I hope coaches that are watching really see this part of it, is you have your 1 and your 5 at the elbows, and really smart, high IQ thing by you as a coach, because you might get a switch there. And if you get a switch on that screen, well, now you have a small, maybe a point guard on your 5, and it's just a lob up top and a layup, or you have a big on your point guard and he can walk them back outside and break them down. So, very intentional here. And I know you mentioned that as you were talking, but the 1 and the 5 at the elbows, it actually, and I like to do this too with some of my 4 low stuff, it puts the defense in a bind. It's really tough for them to switch this. They can, but it makes it a lot more difficult. So really, really like the placement there that you did.
And also, John, with this play here, if you want to play old-fashioned basketball, you can get him here to seal. 4 doesn't have to throw it in. They can hit 3 here throwing it in, and you feed that post on the seal, And I'm really big in it. You got a guy with 2 fouls or 3 fouls, and he wants to defend you, post him up there. It could be a guard. Or run. You can switch this around and do the same play with the guard on the opposite side. And this is where you would feed him and hopefully get that foul and that free throw while you're at it.
Coach, before we jump into the next play, one other thing I love about this is a lot of teams run this from a 1-4 low, and they have the screen across, and then they kind of try to screen and seal, and they have 2 bigs in there. But where you have it as a 4 across high set, which I don't see a lot, what I really like about it is the fact that you're getting kind of that momentum going downhill. And that makes it a lot tougher on the defense, but it also is going to make it tougher on the 2 defender and the 3 defender to get in and help out a little bit. If they cheat in too much, 2 and 3 can just pop back out and they're going to have an open shot. So the alignment is really good. Where you have your players position is really good. Just a really, really well-designed play, which makes me even more excited to see what the next play that you have for us is.
Hey, this next one goes back to why is one of the good things about coaching, and that's building relationships. And I got this play from Coach Mike Fratello. I met him at a clinic, and I asked him, I said, I need a good out of bounds play. And he says, give me your name. And I gave him my card, and he sent me this play. He wrote it out for me, and then he also showed it to me on where to go look at it on YouTube. And so this play is called Head. And so I did not create this play, but I drew it up on Fast Draw that I use. And so this one is how this one goes here. It's a really nice play. You're going to have 4 and 5 here on the elbows. You're going to have 1 starting at the top and 2 on the opposite of 1. 3 is going to throw this situation again. Probably my best inbounder again, as we talked about. 2 is going to get this screen, going to come off the screen and go high, looking for the pass from 3. And then 2 is going to hit 5 on the row coming back Three is going to back out and go all the way to the opposite elbow, looking for a return pass if it's open for a shot. But it's pretty simple.
You know, Coach, I really like this one because I feel like, you know, two's coming off that staggered screen and five's diving low. And there's a really good chance that they might switch it. There's a good chance that they're going to hedge hard on two. And five is a really good threat here, diving down to the block. So a lot of different options off of this one. You know, one going back out to the corner, you know, simple, but different options. I love the use of the screens.
And again, I try to do some things that are a little simple that I like, but then try to flip it up or switch it up. So out of my box sets, I'll do them a couple of ways. I'll do a box where we cross it. I'll do a box where we're doing horizontals. We'll do boxes out of it. We'll do sides. So, you know, a lot of my coaching experience actually comes from the college level and the pros, the pro level. So a lot of the stuff we do, I'm looking for 2, 3, 4 options out of that set. So this one simple one we have, which is a 1-4 box. And again, we'll usually have the 3 throwing it in here. And what we do on this one is 1 and 2 are just going to pop out hard to the base, to the slab side of the floor. 4 is going to set this up screen for 5. And 5's going to come off of it, dive hard, looking for a pass here, and 3 is going to actually curl back around and post up on the post here, and 3 should be popping this one to 5 or hitting 4, and then because those, I'm a triple. I go back to old school, so I'm a high percentage coach. I like to take shots that are really high, so I look for post plays a lot of times, post finishes when we're in a Blobs situation. And then if the opening is there for a 3, you know, I'm good with that as well. So that's what this one is. And like I said, it's pretty simple. And sometimes people might say, well, you know, that's just too simple. But, you know, if I get a good look and the post player touches it and gets fouled, I'm happy.
Yeah, all how you execute, Coach. And sometimes the most basic, simple plays, executing, using screens are the ones that end up working the most. So really, really like this one. And you know, I don't think it has to be complicated. And out of that box set, you can have so many wrinkles. That this can be one of them.
Yeah, one of the things I've always tried to do is, and I've kind of picked this up in the last couple of years, is keep the same name for the same play. So to give an example, we may say we're running box, right? So then the next time I say box again. So if you hear box again as a coach, what are you thinking? They're going to run the same play, right? But no, box again is a different play. Even though, you know, so we'll say box again, and they're thinking I'm running the same play, but no, it's going to be a different play. So it might be a cross. They might cross off of it this time. All right. The next one here is loop. And this is, again, it's actually one of my favorite ones because if you set these screens right, someone's going to get open. And that's what we're looking for here. So we run this out of a stack again, too. And basically what we're looking for, I'm old school. I know people don't like mid-range jumpers anymore, but I'm looking for this 4 to pop out. I'm looking for this 5 to go here, open up and look. This 3 is going to run the shade screen off of his defender, off of 2 defender, and 2 is just going to run hard, bust his butt or her butt to this side, you know, weak side, clear it out, and take an open shot. If there's nothing there for him, because he's getting ready to be closed out on, it's a bounce pass to 5.
Yeah, another, you know, I like the stack to out wider a little bit because that forces the defense to adjust. And a lot of times, you know, it's under the basket and it makes that, some ways makes it easier for them and what they're going to do. But when it's a little bit wider, it gives your players a little more space to work with. And also looking at that 4 player in the corner with if 5 dives hard, that 4 could be open pretty easily, and then you have some other options too. So,
and that's where we talk about being intelligent.
You know, teams a lot of times put that stack right under the basket.
Right.
You just you adjust their placement a little bit, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, this is Sparty, and this one, whenever you hear Sparty, it's pretty much we got it from Michigan State. Coach Izzo and his program. and it's real simple. It's a box set. Everyone's going to pop out, look for the pass to the hand, and as 5 dive down off this block here, 2's going to do the same thing he did out of the last set, out of the loop set. Come looking for this shot from for pass from 1 again. I'm sorry, and then it's basically the same play that we just ran on loop. We just, we changed the Sparty and we ran it out of a box set.
Keep it simple. You have similar actions, different setup, and keeps it nice and simple for the players.
And then you just turn around, we turned it into a box set and did the same thing with it, pretty much.
Love it. For the defense, it makes a difference. For your players, it's very similar. So keeping it simple is a really, really nice thing. And
flag, this is another one of my favorite ones I like to run. We run out of this, and this is pretty simple. Again, we'll try not to complicate it. We put 4 and 5. They're going to just turn, make a double, turn this into a staggered screen. 2 is actually, it's supposed to be in this corner. And again, the printout came a little bit big, so it popped him out a couple of inches. But he's in this corner here, or she's in that corner. And what you're looking for is 3 is going to come hard off of 5 and 4 on the stagger. This is a shoulder rub. It's not really even a screen. It's a shoulder, rub off the shoulder of 2. So 2's got to break, stand there. He's not even looking for anybody. He's rubbing off that shoulder to hopefully get 3's man to bump right into him, obviously, so we call that a screen, but we don't have the guy intentionally go look for that defender or pick him up earlier. So he has to run hard, and then when he runs hard, 3's going to the quarter. He's going to turn on his after the rub, and he's looking for another open shot off the belly move to the perimeter again.
Like it, Coach. Anytime there's 4 across, makes it really tough to defend, and a lot of different options off of it. So I think we have one more set that you're going to share here, and it's one that I really, really like.
Stack them here. We're going to put, it's again another box set here. We're going to put 5 here, 5 low here, and we got 2 here. Then we got 1 all the way over in the corner by his lonesome self. So that means someone's got to come and defend this, right? And that's what we want to do, is going to clear somebody else out of it. They've got on bar here. So we got a couple of options, but one of the options may be we may back screen this guy and then pop the 4 right up there to get it. And then the same thing, we may back screen this guy again, and they'll just get him to step in where he's got to kind of front it. And then we open 2 down the line here. But the way we set it up on this particular play, we send it to you is 4 comes down and goes straight down. 2 is going to come off a 4 screen, and she's just going to loop it off again to 2. 5 is going to screen that 5 to come down off the lane, and 4 is going to slip to the basket. We're looking for 4 to rub him off, run that screen off that elbow, and then slip it down to the basket, and 3 can hit 2 coming off, or like I say, 5 can open up after that screen, and then there's 4 right there as well.
Yeah, those screens, the screen and kind of slip sets are really good. Rick Barnes does a lot of that off his kind of offset box series. He'll have his player set screens, and they have a couple options off it, and then they'll slip to the basket, and they usually get a layup off it. So another great set. But this whole series I like. It's simple. There's a lot of different options that you can run off of these setups. So really, really well designed, and something I feel like coaches can, use with their teams and use successfully. So as we kind of wrap this up, I wanted to ask you,
yes, sir.
Baseline out of bounds plays, this comes up a lot. What's your kind of, for coaches who are watching out there, because a lot of things you can do. Do you stick with a certain alignment, like a box or a 4 low or a 4 high, or do you mix it up a little bit? Just trying to get an idea of how much is too much versus just right for coaches out there that are watching.
For me, since I've been doing this since the dinosaurs were roaming, I've gotten to the point where I realize I probably have too many out of bound plays, and so worried about somebody knowing it instead of running a lot of one play. So what I would suggest a lot of young coaches do, pick one set and then run a lot of options out of that set. And as you grow and your experience comes more prevalent and you learn a lot more about the game, then I would suggest maybe you can spread out and do some things, because then you, like you say, you get into the scouting. And whenever you get into the scouting, you freak out and you don't want them to know what you're doing. So you start coming up with everything. I know I've heard of stories of coaches that run certain plays off the number on the scoreboard. Have you heard that before? I really heard coaches who they run their sets off the number on the scoreboard. So they tell that, you know, they do this in practice during the course of the week. And then if the last number on the scoreboard at the time of the dead ball is, that's what they run. So if it's 2 seconds left, they run 2. If the last
number, have to call it.
They don't even have to call it. Right. Everyone knows where to look up and look and know what they were. But that's, wow, you know, that's how creative you get. And the person who told me the story said the guy scored every time they touched the basket out of a blob. Every time they ran a blob, they just scored. You know, so it's how creative you get. And you know, sometimes you can get too creative like me. I would love to get more and more where I can run maybe one thing and then run a bunch of different things. Louisville's women's coach does a great job of that. And going back to what I talked about and how you call your plays, you know, he may say Louisville, and then he may say Louisville and then use a street, you know. So they still think you're running Louisville, but it's a different set, you know. So I'm kind of getting into that a little bit more, where I'm running the same call, but it's a different set.
Yeah, Coach, that's a lot of great advice for coaches out there. I like the scoreboard trick, and I also like the fact you talked about, you know, having that one set and having a number of different options off of it. So every time we talk, you have so much great insight into whether it's baseline out of bounds sets, SSGs, or sideline out of bounds, whatever we talk about. You have a lot of great insight for coaches out there, and I always appreciate that. And I just want to know if coaches want to connect with you to ask about these baseline out of bounds plays or anything else basketball related. Where's the best way to connect with you?
CoachDWare@gmail.com. If you want to catch me on Twitter and want to email me, you're always welcome to direct mail me through email. On Twitter, I love that. And my phone number is always available for anybody who wants it. You know, so anytime, anywhere, I'm glad to help and train and help the teachers and the coaches get better at anything we do. And so I just appreciate you having me. We've developed a good friendship, and I appreciate that.
Me too, Coach. And you always help me get a little bit better. Every time you share something, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I always appreciate that about you, and hope we can do this again down the road again. And until then, you know, have a great season with your team, and best of luck.